Hey, citizens of Earth, can you hear me?
Is your lunch break a
Oh
race
God.
against the clock? You run here.
Hey! Sound! We have the sound. Greetings, humans, one and all of all shapes, flavors, and varietals. We're here with the Endless Legend. So, yes. Excellent. Sorry about the delay. XSplit is giving me a hard time with Endless Legend, and I did not know that I was actually broadcasting for a while, silently sitting here. Who are all of these things, these peoples and sounds? Endless. Uh-oh. Are we having problems? Oh no. No, we're good. We're good. Endless Legend. Endless Legend is a game by Iceberg Studios, I believe. Oh god, this shows you how prepared I am. Endless Legend. Because I forget studio names, like the Dickens. Oh no, publisher was Iceberg. Amplitude is the developer. So Amplitude, the things that you will probably best know them for is the games of the same name as Endless Legend. Not just Endless Legend, but they are famous for creating the Endless series, a series of interconnected video games set in the same universe. And you may be wondering, I see a dude with lightning hands shooting the shit out of a guy with swords and shields. How in any way is that related to a game called Endless Space? A space 4X strategy game. And I will tell you, it is because this, Amplitude is creating a game, about... or a universe, I should say, about... that's similar to, for those of you who've read it, to Dune by Frank Herbert. It is a universe where there is, like, future science and space travel, but there's also this near-magical substance that, everyone knows as dust. And that near-magical substance can let you do all sorts of weird, mystical bullshit and magic science. And that, in the way ancient times of this universe, there were a precursor race called the Endless that made all this cool stuff with this magic pseudo, science crap. And it was magical. And in Endless Legend, we are going to be taking a look at one planet full of people that live in this universe, and they do not know that there is science. They are only familiar with this magical dust that does magical things for them. So we're gonna get into it. Who am I going to play? Wildwalkers. Valter seems like a good... I'm going to play Valters. That's what we're going to do. But so, let's talk about game. Let's game about game. Let's gab about game. So, sorry, I'm trying to bring you guys up so I can see your words and your beautiful faces. Yeah, there we go, chat room. Alright, Empires 8, difficulty easy. We're gonna start on difficulty easy just so that it is not difficult for me to play this game. Start! So, while this loads, let's talk about game. The game, they are... here's the thing that I like. The load screens. You're all familiar, I assume, with like cutesy little doodly stuff they make to... they do to make the load screens more bearable. For this one, they do a poem. And so we'll read some of this. And the land became rich, and all of that is me, Auriga. That is a poem written to you by the planet of this shit. Yes, thank you. I am indeed a scrub. But yeah, I have a lot to personify the, well, not the game so much as the advertising for the game does a lot to personify the planet as a thinking conscious being. Oh, here we go.
The stars. Safe in our halls and minds, we ignored these old tales. But then the great quake cracked our halls open, revealing ancient secrets and relics. These unknown relics carried our patterns, our images, hints of a hidden past. We took them and fled the destruction, seeking a new life on the surface. Now the legends and relics of our past show the way to our future. The journey will be dangerous, sometimes deadly, but we go forth without fear or ignorance. For courage and knowledge are the bywords of the Vultures.
So, first thing we encounter. So, let's unpack some of that intro. Having spoiled it a little bit for you, the Vultures were human, but as the intro story there implies, we are maybe not from around this neighborhood. This isn't our home, and that till now, for centuries, we've lived beneath the earth, and then we found all this weird, ancient, magical bullshit with our symbols and signs on it, and these ancient legends that speak of a journey beneath the stars. Also, how are my levels? Because my levels for me are all kinds of bananas. Oh. Peace be to Argra and you. May our conversations be both civil and frequent. Okay, goodbye. Oh god. Playing new content. Adding a reskin to the Vultures faction, Talon Mazari, previously unlocked by the Dungeon of the Endless Founder, or Crystal Packs unlocked. Alright. Okay, bye. So. Yes. So, the Sestians are Driders, more or less. But so, this game presents us with a pretty basic, if slightly sluggish, let's say, Civ-style strategy game. We've got a pretty bog standard hex grid. If I can make it visible. Nah, I can't. Let's build our city. Let's build our first city. Colonization. I'm gonna build right here, because I like the look of that place's jib. Alright. So we got a lot of stuff to unpack here. First things first. The reason I'm talking about this game rather than Civilization, a also quite excellent strategy game that I think has a lot of tonal and dissonance, a lot of tonal dissonance problems. The reason we're talking about this game is something that we picked up in the opening cutscene, and that's going to become apparent as we go by. Endless Legend attempts to do something a little bit different with the genre of, I guess we're going to say 4X strategy games, even though I dispute that Civ is a 4X strategy game. But with Civ-style the Civ-style strategy game genre, as it were, Endless Legend aspires to constructing a narrative in strategy games. And let's do our first ruin embracing. Oh no. Excuse me while I remember how to play this game. Yeah. New quest added. Intellectual jealousy. So here is another thing. But yes. So this game is going to aspire to construct a narrative. Something that you guys didn't get to see while I was opening the game is there's a cutscene that describes and explains, oh yeah, this planet we're on, Ariga, is dying. It's just straight up dying. Bad things are happening to it, and more or less our goal, though we haven't really figured it out yet, is to not die with the planet. But, so we have this situation, for those of us, for if you have played a Civilization game before, which is given that is kind of the presumed audience for this game, it says, alright, here's a map, here are a bunch of hexes, here's a bunch of resources, build your first city, we're gonna give you your first worker, how's about that? Looks just like a standard Civ game, and oh, here's my first ruin to explore and pillage good stuff from. And instead of getting good stuff, we wind up with this, a new quest. Obviously and sadly, the people who lived here ages ago were more educated than yours. In the dust-covered ruins of this technological empire, your scientists begin to find new ideas and inspirations. Perhaps you might even one day surpass those ancients. Summary: enlightenment is near as long as you can focus on research. Produce 40 science in one of your cities for 10 turns. Reward 15 influence. Okay, so that's a little bit different, and that's kind of that is one aspect of this game that it's choosing to differentiate itself with. This game is very much concerned with ideas of narrative and ideas of strategy telling story, not necessarily of an individual, but of a people in a time and place. And in a time and place full of magical bullshit. Alright, so what else are we gonna do? This is a good place. Well, let's set up our first research. So, research, as a game construct as a system, let's say, a system in strategy games, I think is actually, particularly Civilization-style strategy games, I think is a great way to kind of dip your toe into the water of what the game is trying to do and say. So, for example, Civilization, which is focused on, in theory, telling the story of humanity from its, telling the story of civilization from our first experiences with grown crops and agriculture to all the way to the space age, or to modern times. And so its tech tree is a linear progression. If we ever get a chance to do it, a game I would very much like to do, Civilization Beyond Earth, being a game about humanity's future, is concerned with like what the possibilities are, where we are going, and how we can get there. And so its tech tree is a web. Endless Legend is a web of sorts, but it's also a timeline. All the way to the sixth age. Sixth era, I'm sorry. So we are in the first era. This era has been unlocked. All its content is now available for research. Era effects. Iron Tier 1 weapons and armor are available for heroes and ground units. Okay. Luxury resources available. Strategic resources available. And as you'll see, the way we advance to the next era is by researching things. So part of the way like this game chooses to weave its narrative structure into the game is by implicitly giving us this era system timer. Every time we research a certain amount of tech in one era, the next era will unlock, which let's see. I have +1 for 2 science on it. Let's see. We have a lot of science near us. A lot of science and a lot of gold. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Let's research seed storage. Seeds of domesticated plants are stored for sowing, making crops, and more reliable, increasing the amount of food produced. So, let us get some of that food, because we need it. But yeah, implicit, so, whenever we finish this age, which should be, I believe, 9 researches, or whatever, we will move on. The next age will unlock, which is better technologies, better stuff, some species-specific technologies, the Titan, the Deep Generator, that kind of thing. And so implicitly, once we have researched the requisite amount of tech, we are encouraged strongly to move on to this one, because as soon as we unlock an age, who knows, that could give us either an advantage, or if we don't jump on it right away, an implicit deficit, because let's say one of the other players decides to move on to an age quickly. And so by using newer, shinier shit to attract us forward into the next era, the game also continues to reinforce its narrative decision of there is a timeline, and eventually you will run out of time. Not because you've reached the present day, and not because you've reached some weird, far distant future, but because time is at its end. The ages of the world have ended, kind of thing. So, let us continue on, having talked about that. What else do I need to do? I got all these soldiers. End to turn. One or more cities does not produce anything. That's right, because I remember how to play games. Founders Memorial, because monuments are important. The one-time construction creates a memorial to your leadership and the founding of your empire. Commerce, patriotism, and politics will ensure it grows quickly. So yeah, we're building things. Also, another thing of interest in this game that I think A, makes it a more interesting game to play, and B, has interesting things to say about civilizations and cities and that kind of thing. Your population, the population of your cities, doesn't affect workable tiles. All of the tiles that your city controls are being worked. So you will pull in resources from all of these tiles. The way your citizens matter, though, is you can move them to either FUDs, industry, science, dust generation, which is this world's currency, or influence generation. And as you move citizens to different tasks, those areas will be producing better. So we are putting this one citizen focusing on farming and feeding our peoples. And I like that. It doesn't do necessarily much for the problem of civilization style games wherein they kind of turn all nations into these enormous, like, enormous cultureless, amorphous blobs of self-perpetuating desire. But it does highlight that a civilization isn't just this, like, people aren't just stats to be, well, it does give people a more active role in their society. Now, enough with this nattering, let us move around and end our turn. Oh. So our first quest. New quest added. 1. Wide lands, wide eyes. They call themselves Vaulters. They found me, scorched and blackened, in an ancient cavern that their people had long forgotten. How long had I lain in that darkness? Only the stars know. But my limbs, rusted and groaning, tell me ages must have passed. I will never forget the looks on their faces, haunted, awestruck, but above all, fearful. The realm they called home, the subterranean paths and chambers that riddled the planet, had come under attack from some cataclysmic force, had shaken and split, ruptured, decimating their numbers. Their leader, the first of the bloodline as she is known, recognized in me something valuable, and brought me back to life in that dusty crypt. For this I will be eternally grateful. I vow to be her faithful servant until the end of days, wherever that may lead. Now they retreat to the surface, where they believe they will find respite, where they hope they will find answers. First of the bloodline Zolya has made the first priority of the assimilation of local tribes, while they strike out into unknown lands under the sky's watchful gaze. I will try to remember past days. Summary. My saviors have retreated from the chaos of the subterranean realm, seeking Auriga's surface. Our first task is to assimilate a minor faction. In a region that belongs to your empire, pacify at least one village of a minor faction, then assimilate them. Reward 30 titanium. So, we got a lot to unpack here. So, we are, this is not us, but, so we've gotten our beginnings of a story. We have a POV character. Yes, indeed. Riona, a robotsman. A robotsman who seems to remember and age vaguely before the Vaulters lived underground. Why am I having such trouble with this? Let's do this. Not only that, we have a character who is leading this people's name, Zolya, the first of the bloodline. And we have a motivation, They, the Vaulters are fleeing their long underground vaults. Yes, I know it is you, Corey. I was trying to be coy. But they've fled their long underground vaults for the surface. Because there's some great cataclysm destroying their lands. And now they are trying to establish them, like, protect themselves, establish themselves on the surface. And to do that, we shall engage in empire. Because that makes sense. Oh, no. That's actually not in our territory. That's somebody else's. So here's another conceit of the game, that the regions of the world are divided up into states. Kind of regions. So we are in the region of Nalion, and we see the region of something K over yonder. Uh-oh. Oh darn. I should have used another mouse, and now we're stuck. This is where we live. Okay, I found an alternative. We're good. Everything is fine. Yeah. So we now have to go explore our lands and find a smaller, less peopled nation to submit to our will. As, apparently we are wont to do. Now. Research complete, seed storage. Alright. We have open pit mine, and we have public library researched. Okay. Let us do... Language Square. Okay, so with public square dedicated to practicing and teaching many languages of Ariga, conversations with minded fractions can now move beyond pointing and grunting. Let us speak with peoples. So. Alright, so. There are a lot of things we have to say about this, and by this I mean me. Or by we, I mean me. And by this, I mean strategy games. So, the adventure we find ourselves going on right now is looking for a subject peoples to, like, a subject people. That is more or less what we are doing. So, and this is a theme kind of common in this style of strategy game. There's this through line that civilizations have to progress in a certain way, and that civilization is a sort of a logical progression. Oh, we have reached the northern boundaries, and we have found gold! Delicious gold. Yeah, no, we've definitely reached the boundary. So perhaps I have gone in the wrong direction. But yeah. So that their civilization is a logical progression, and that not only is civilization a logical progression, large-scale civilization is a logical progression. Large, centralized civilizations that result in large, centralized states with advanced economies are a natural progression. There is a lot of presumption in that. There's a lot of kind of implicit bias packed into that, given that we are from a large centralized civilization, and that we are our civilization got there by, in varying points in its history, either surviving subjugation or subjugating subject peoples. That kind of implies, implicit in this game is like, well, our way to civilization, our way to our position is clearly the way. Which is, I think, a problem that kind of dogs this genre in general. Parlay. New quest added, Rough Men. You encountered a tribe, the Seratan, who wish to live in peace. There's only one way to do this on a world like Auriga. Patrol their region with troops to drive out enemy armies. Patrol the region of Ashrusk to keep enemy armies away. Make sure there is no enemy army in the region of Ashrusk in 5 turns. 10 grass silk, and pacification. So, pacification. This kind of goes to what I was saying. Throughout the game, we will encounter minor civilizations, like minor factions, is what the game kind of calls them. Expansion Minor Village. We can interact with them in poly sorts of ways. We can attack them to subjugate them directly. We can bribe them to kind of bring them in as a client kingdom. Or we can parlay with them, which is what we just did. We can, you know, do things for us, we'll do things for you, that kind of thing. And I am kind of two minds on this whole thing. One, as I've previously stated, civilization-style games are kind of dogged by this idea that there is this one natural progression of how a civilization works. That said, I am also kind of enamored of the idea of this game. This game puts forward. Because certainly empire forming and creating subject kingdoms and client kingdoms is a thing we have seen in our own history all over the world for many millennia. From the Romans subjugating the Gaelic peoples, to the Han Chinese subjugating the native residents of what we now call China, to the Persian peoples subjugating Greeks, Turks, or not Turkic peoples, Greek-speaking peoples, Semitic peoples, I think even to a certain extent Egypt. No, Egypt wasn't theirs. And peoples from all over the world. And it is interesting that this game takes that into account, that there are civilizations, that it opens up the opportunity to have that as part of the narrative. Civilizations that are either allied or clients or slaves of your kingdom. Oh wait, I gotta... And the fact that it kind of represents at least a cross-section of ways that that can happen. Aquapulvistics. Plus 2 gold. Alright. Sewer system. Yes, indeed. Let us have an advanced civilization that has sewers. This is good. But so yeah, I like the idea of creating a... let's see if I can actually find the people we're supposed to be subjugating. Nope. I like the idea of having subject peoples. In some ways, I also think that some of this clashes tonally with what the game is going for. And we're going to get into this on bigger things as time goes by. One of your cities is not producing anything. Dismiss. Because I'm good at remembering. Gold extractor. Yes, let's build that. So this is how another way the game kind of tries to diversify itself, find a new space for itself in the civilization model. So rather than having workable tiles with workable resources, the way this game chooses to make your regions more useful is when you find strategic resources, you can exploit them even if they are far, far away from the center of your cities, as long as you control that region with a city. And is in another interesting way kind of mirrors real life more accurately, in that rarely was the only workable terrain in a region the areas immediately surrounding a city. Often you would have in a region smaller out-settlements, like like mining villages, like the one we just built, or once we encounter other people, smaller subject-client people in your region. Aha! We found them! You've encountered a new minor faction, the Dorgeshi. Banished after a series of feuds, these roving clan families left the life of their caravans and cities, exchanging the luxuries of merchants for the hardship of warriors. The clan's secrets of beast control were used to master the great Berdamek lizards, turning the Dorgeshi into a fearsome heavy cavalry. So let us make friends with these people. Yes, as Corey has stated, our motto here on the Plays the Thing is always be ABS, always be seducing. So with that parlay, the canny leader of this people is trying to develop better commercial base for the village by getting a robust public market up and running. Unfortunately, the goods available are simple and often uninteresting. If you could provide something a bit more compelling and slightly cinematic to fill the stalls, it would improve the market, public morale, and tax income. To pacify the Dorgeshi and Nelion, donate some luxuries to help draw crowds and merchants to the new minor faction marketplace. Gift 8 emeralds to the new public market of the Dorgeshi. Oh, that's gonna be a tough one since we don't have any emeralds. We've got gold. Yeah, we got gold. And we've got titanium. Well, let's resolve that. That's a next turn us problem. But yeah, as I was saying, one of the problems of having this empire building aspect to a game about a species that is trying to escape an imminent disaster, and a disaster that a lot of the game has implied to us is ongoing and increasing in severity as time goes by, is that the kind of starting off small and exploring and expanding and forming this great empire and civilization kind of runs counter to the idea that we are in any significant danger. It kind of, ooh, temple ruins. It kind of undercuts the fact that we're in danger. It's like, yes, our great bold civilization, which shall cover continents, and is now rocked by doom earthquakes and king lizard attacks. That is indeed a reasonable course of events. And this is a thing that is only gonna, be exacerbated as time goes by. Let's get our Dawn Officer, who is our special cavalry guy, in power armor. Petrov Judith has gained experience to reach a new level. Inspect. So yes, this game has a leveling system, and it has heroes. People who can lead our armies and govern our cities to the best of their various abilities. So let's find out about this Petrov Judith. Nicknamed Ghost as a child, on account of her ability to emerge from shadows and scare the life out of folks. Judith loves nothing more than stealth and solitude of Ariga's subterranean realm. With a mischievous streak, Judith's unique abilities were eventually channeled into by an understanding teacher. In time, she became one of the Vaulter's most reliable guide runners, instilling loyalty through her talents rather than her charm. Judith is keen to lead those who share her belief. Alright, let's say faction. And so for the progressions, we have class, common, for those basic heroes, and faction. And I actually this as a system for RPG development, or for role-playing development, I think is actually more interesting than a lot of other systems you see in games. So we have class, so there's like kind of an implied class system for this character. I don't think they ever name it, but you'll see stuff like Agile Mover, Farsighted, Spare Quiver, Carried Across. I think it's mostly just boils down to Ranged Hero, like Stabby Hero, that kind of thing. But you'll see that carry across factions. Here's the common basic stuff for, you know, those people who are into basic heroes, and then faction-specific stuff. And having these all interconnected, I think, allows for a level of specialization and differentiation between say a Vaulter's hero and a Vaulter's equivalent ranged shootsman hero, and say I cannot remember some of the other factions' names. And say a Roving Clan's ranged hero. So I'm gonna take Agile Mover. Let's do that. Apply. This was. I don't want to go this way. I want to go this way. Oh wait, no. Actually, I want to do this. Search the ruins. 30 dust. Sweet. Damn it! I was hoping we'd find emeralds. Let's go this way. So that gives us a goodly thing. Actually, let's end this turn, and then the next turn I think I'm going to bribe these folks into liking me. Quest completed, rough men. Patrol the region of Ashurka and keep enemy armies away. Well, that was easy. Make sure there is no enemy army in the region of Ashurka. Congratulations, the villages of the region of Ashurka trust your protection. They are pacified and willing to serve you. So, we can explore that once we build a city in that region. So here's the downside to having minor factions that like you is that they will only serve you directly if they if you have a city in their region. And this is kind of the thing. One of the things I was talking about. I like the way that they construct the growth of a civilization as a more natural process, because this kind of mirrors something like the foundation of say an empire that we call Rome, where it started off as like some bumblefuck nameless city in the middle of ass nowhere, and then through varying means Cool. Dawn Officer. Cool. Gold Extractor. Through varying means, got the various settlements and villages and areas of the other Latin tribes to... Oh, fudge and crackers. I forgot about the... Here's another downside of this game. You have to have heroes to go talk to your villages. So let's go talk to these shitheads so I can give them beautiful, beautiful money. And tell them, convince them to love me with delicious, delicious money. Yeah, parlay is indeed the closest way we'll get to seduce in this game. Enter. But yeah, it does mirror a kind of more natural approach to growth. That, like, say, the Romans started as some bumblefuck nowhere city, and then through, in their case, violence, convinced that the Latin tribes that surrounded them that they're in their best. It was in their best interest to go along with what the city, a city called Rome, and go along with its interests. And so, since the Saracens, they like us well enough, but since we're not there to remind them of how awesome we are with our big awesome cities, they're not going to directly listen to us. And so that creates a kind of an implied story of power and how power is used and who is using power for what ends. Boom. In this case, us for our ends. Of course, that does run a little bit counter to, as I previously said, that kind of runs a little bit counter to the world is approaching apocalypse narrative. Let's bribe. Boop, boop, boop. We failed kickstarting their thing, but we succeeded in getting them to be our friends. So let's talk about now that they are our friends. Because we gave them money. Which is kind of what they were asking for anyway, but... Empire screen... Assimilated minor factions. Click to assimilate a new minor faction. Alright, so let's see what minor factions have done for us. If you have noticed, our population, though the population of our city says it's 2, if we go here to our settlers, we see we have 3 porpals. We have 3 delicious porpals. That's because for every village of a for every pacified village in our territory, we get an additional porpal in our city, and that beautiful, beautiful Min is going to help us continue the efforts of our civilization. And that's kind of highlights the desire for why empires desire, or why civilizations desire to make by hook or by crook the people around them to like them more. What in the butt is going on here? Let's actually keep going with that. Because having subject peoples around you gives you manpower to fuck around with. But also, we have an additional benefit here. Assimilated minor factions. Click to assimilate a new minor faction. Select a minor faction. So if we assimilate this faction, we are going to get their special units, the Burdeki Cavalry, and we are going to get an assimilation effect. Plus 0.5 resource per pacified and rebuilt Dorgeshi village on a village on luxury resource extractor. So, we get new armies for our legions, or we get new units for our legions. We get new portals for our cities, and we get this research effect, or we get this assimilation effect, this thing that having them more than a subject, and like assimilation I think is a key word here, because rather than implying it's like they're just subjects or people we can count on as allies, they have been successfully assimilated into our culture. So they are now a part of our civilization. Their culture has become one with our culture. And because these people are expert traders, or well, they are a splinter faction of expert traders, and they are herdsmen nomads, we get a bonus to dealing in luxury goods if they're on our side, if these mins are on our side. So, but sadly we do not have the influence to do that, so we'll deal with that concept later. Another interesting thing, I don't know how I feel about this. Your civilization can only assimilate a certain number of people at a time. Right now we can only do one at a time. I wouldn't say that encircling. It is... I wouldn't say that, because like, think about it in this context. We refer to like Jupiter and Zeus and all of those gods as Greco-Roman culture, even though at the time the Romans invaded Greece, they regarded the Romans as foreign barbarians. But eventually over time, because for 1,000 years Rome ruled Greece, they kind of melded into one thing. The way we think of France as being a Romanized culture, even though the Gauls were a very, very different people than the Latins that would come to conquer them. And this is kind of a thing that happens in civilization. The grand experiment, not the game. Let's do this. Actually, let's explore this way, because we're probably going to expand this way since we've got the horrible spider people as our friends. Another thing I kind of wanted to touch on, this game is great at Amplitude in general, but Endless Legend in particular is great at building on lore. The population of our city has grown to 3. Cool. This game is quite good at doing flavor and storytelling through ambient text and that kind of thing. Ambient storytelling. A thing that you have to do in games because you generally can't... We have learned throughout the particularly throughout the 90s, we've learned that exposition dumps are not a great way to tell stories in games. You have found nothing of interest here. There is nothing of value here. Just some crappy ruins. Well, for example, this. Toolstones and forged metal artifacts speak of lost nations. While they are not rare on Ariga, in this place they are plentiful and better preserved, certainly worth a closer look. And then, for the Ceratan village. Like other insectoid species, Ceratan reproduce by laying eggs in large cocoons. The protection and care of these cocoons caused villages to develop. Otherwise, the Ceratan would be migratory foragers. Okay, so learn something about them. The Dorgeshi villages shows a care this people these peoples have for their mounts. They live in burrows along with the stables of their lizards. though it should be noted that their interiors are tiled or brick, dry and free of foul smells. So these are ways to make the world feel a richer, more varied place, to feel like you are looking in on a world that is not your own, but to make it feel like these people feel like vibrant people. And so through what we've seen on the assimilation screen and we have seen by mousing over their villages, we can infer certain things about the Dogreshi, like that they're a people that they live simple lives in dirt, like earthenwork homes, but they value ornamentation and decoration, despite the fact that they live semi-nomadic lifestyle. Yeah, encircling. That's kind of why I liked to highlight this game, because it has an incredible depth of play, but I also think that depth of play is part of the reason this game is such a good platform for evoking the feel of a world. Because unlike something like Civilization, which, not to knock Civilization, which you might hear me do a lot of, but to a certain extent, because it relies on the fact that you live in the world you are playing in, that you have a familiarity with it. Like, when you are playing a civilization, like you're playing Rome, ruled by Caesar Augustus, that implies certain things. You know that there are certain implications that you know because you're a human living on Earth. And these civilizations are powerful civilizations that you get to experience and see, and that's kind of a shorthand for the story of the game. Here they don't have that luxury, but kind of as a consequence of the way Civilization does it, I get the feeling that it feels like your civilization is floating over the world rather than living as a part of it. Because this game doesn't have the luxury of being from a world you already know well, in fact, it has a world very alien to the one that you are familiar with. So it has to do things that Civilization doesn't. Or it has to do things to get away with its strong sense of narrative and its strong sense of, this is a setting for a civilization that is growing and trying to survive in a world that may be dying. And this world is a complicated place. Judging by all the ruins of past great technological civilizations we found, a very, very old place. And those ruins serve as a reminder that, like, yes, we are growing great, but we can also fall. And that a lot of great people way greater than we are now, have fallen from much higher heights than we are at. And that seems to kind of be happening again. But through 1,000 little gameplay ways, this game is trying to emphasize culture and narrative, and here is the you are following indications drawn from local legends that spoke of loot and treasure and heavily guarded ruins. It seems, however, that someone else has beaten you to the booty. Follow the tracks of the creatures that pillaged the treasure. One of the armies roaming Moak has the treasure that you seek. Find that army, defeat it, and make its booty yours. Because we want to touch that building. Yeah, I'd say world building does work better when there's a world that needs to be built. I would also say that this game is the mechanics of this game are designed in such a way that makes you feel more attached to the world that they have constructed. Because they could construct this world on paper and tell you all about it in blurbs, but by making strategic resources things you build settlements on, by making other outer settlements of people that are not your own a resource in the game, by making things like, rather than just saying oil or grass, like, because civilization has its tiles just have, like, you know, dirt, or, well, in civilization's case, like desert, and grassland, and floodplains, and whatever. Here we have, like, the standard, so dirt, tundra grass, rocky fields, tundra rocks. We have, instead, also chromatic land. Fields of dizzying color, and these are not an explicit resource, they are anomalous things occurring in the world of Auriga. Fields of dizzying color blanket the ground here. Closer inspection reveals edible and multi-hued flowers glittering with dust. And even with the gold, rather than just saying oil or gold, even gold, a thing we have a context for. Gold deposit, flaunting a lustrous golden hue and impervious to the ravages of water and air, gold is a true king of the elements, and an essential commodity for moving beyond the barter system. This game makes the world a richer place than bland tiles. In fact, another way that they do this, and we'll see why kind of they do this in a minute, other than as a navigation impedance, a way to kind of control our alchemist furnace. By giving the, excuse me one sec, my ears are very itchy today because allergies. Rather than giving us a bland largely featureless map, this is a richly textured map with high detail, so it gives us a view of the world, not an abstraction of a world we know. If you guys could excuse me for one, if you could excuse me for 1 minute, my ears are very itchy, so I'll be right back. Enjoy this screen. I have returned, and I'm just rubbing the insides of my ears with Q-tips. It's probably not great for them, but oh god, does it make it feel better. Alright, now that my headphones are back on, let us continue on our adventures. Nothing of interest at this location. Luxury resource. Using, dye deposit. Using the stained liveries, heraldic used to stain liveries, heraldic bearings, clothing, and select foodstuffs. A city-state's standing among its neighbors can be greatly improved with flashes of carefully administered color. Oh, I'm glad that you cried a lot. Knowing that I am missed and that you suffered without my presence, fills me with joy. In fact, it feeds me. Uh-oh. I see little green. I see, in fact, the border of another civilization, who we're gonna touch butts with. You've encountered a new minor faction, the Nidya. Though bird-like in their appearance, the Nidya are closer to humanoid than one might think. Their young are birthed, not hatched, and like other advanced peoples, their habitats are chosen carefully for defense, foraging, and observation. Also, I like how, yes, they are bird-like, and then the one we get a glimpse of has these weird, like, bone feathers. So, yeah, totally normal. This world is totally normal bird. I see a totally normal burb, don't you? Alright. But those burbs are friends of, other mins. I thought we had faction quest. Oh, then assimilate them. We have to assimilate these mins into our culture. They must become like the Voltermins. Enter. Let's build a settler first. Alright, let's build a settler and then a dust dredger. And let's get in a little bit to the dust. Sifting with sophisticated nets in wells, rivers, and floodplains helps isolate this precious magical resource, increasing the city's dust production. And so, judging by what we've seen so far, by this dust dredger, by the dust filter which we filtration which we can't use because we don't live near an ocean, when ice melts and rivers and seas grow warmer in the summer season, a combination of magnetics and very fine filters can be used to harvest dust directly from waters. So we are learning that dust is in the water, from the glowy flowers of good timiness. We learned that they are in the earth. The dust is everywhere, but it's magical and valuable and must be filtered and purified to do things for us. Oh god. And also, kind of by, not so much in the dredger, but in the filtration system, it also implies that we kind of know what magnets are. Ah, we're in some other min's land, touching its butt. Enter. But it's in this and other things, if you haven't picked up on it, make this, like, primitive civilization world a little bit weird. There's just raw titanium lying around. There's weird glowing-ass rocks. There's this magical dust shit all over the place. The basic civilization that we are using magnets to filter dust out of the air. And, if we look at our army units, which I'll kind of get to explaining in a little bit, but Dawn Officer is called cavalry. It's just a guy in armor. Kind of implying that that's powered armor. So, we have powered armor axe-wielding dudes. And that kind of thing. Magnets, how do they work? Dust. And dust is magic, because the dust must flow. Aha! We have encountered another people. The Mizari. Hello, stranger. We hope that our dealings will be brief and peaceful. The Mizari, who I think are basically just... I don't know why they did this. They were a DLC version of the Vultures or something. Because the Vultures were originally something... This game had weird, like, cross-marketing campaign. So we've met our first mins. And here's the things that we will learn about them. So diplomacy in this game starts off, rather than like the kind of... It starts off in the... not the presumed hostility of civilization. It starts something akin to what they call Cold War. During this period, empires can attack each other's armies within neutral regions without declaring war on each other. An empire can freely attack enemies in its regions. A player's armies can roam freely in the regions of other empires with whom the player is at cold war. So this is kind of the, like, we don't implicitly hate you, but we do not trust you. We do not trust and or like you. And a lot of our diplomatic relations are compliment. We can, like, one of our first things that we can do with people is, like, either warn them, like, get away from us, we don't like you, or we can compliment them and be like, hey, buddy, you want to be our buddy? You want to touch butts? You want to rub our butts together and see what we can do with our butts? Seduce. And yes, indeed, we are going to seduce these mins, who look very much like us because they're probably related to us. Let's befriend these mins. Hello, min. I'm going to touch your butt. Your acknowledgement of quality work does you credit. Your good taste is noted and appreciated. Yeah. Okay, and so we see the mins we have met so far. We've met this Mizari AI, and we've met this I can't remember what the Dragonborn in this are called. Draken, yes. We have met the Draken AI. The reason the Draken, yes, indeed, she is like, you like my butt, you got good taste. I mean, to be fair, that's the way tasteful people are. They're just like, yeah, I know I got it. I appreciate that you noticed that I got it, but I don't need you to tell me that I got it. Oh, new minor faction. The Eyeless Ones. Blind and focused more on what cannot be seen than what can easily be seen. The Eyeless Ones care little for appearances. Their villages reflect this fact, being simple mud huts with minimal decoration. So we have met weird, Giger-esque looking Buddhist alien nightmare fuckbeasts. Yes, this is good. Let's make their friends. Let us make friends with the hell beasts. But yeah, so diplomacy. Yeah, the reason the Draken know us is because that's their racial ability. They get to know everybody on the map because they are the oldest race. They are the oldest extant race on the planet. Boop. Or at least, on the surface of the planet. End turn. I think we are going to go build out this way first, and then try and expand to our friend mins over here. So that we can make friends with the hell beasts. Population has grown to 4. Let's start diversifying. Let's diversify. Let's do science research, because I like that. Or what's our gold sitch? We've got a pretty good gold sitch going on here. Production. Could use a boost, though. And let's improve that gold sitch mightily. You'll notice here, the effect of this building is +10 food on cities during summer. We will get to what summer is when it stops happening. New Empire plan can be set for the following turns. So this is kind of our broad, a way of setting broad policy for the next few turns. Like, do we expand militarily, economically, and focus on our economy and our population? Science and industry? Or empire creation and expansion? And the amount of influence we have at this stage, which is not very much, is what kind of decides how big a plan we can create. So, do we... +3 gold per city. Let's focus on science and industry for now, because that is never a bad thing. Academy. Oh yeah, we've got booster resources. Let's talk about that in a second. Dismiss. Inspect. Skill tree. Farsighted. Yes. Okay. Not necessarily. I mean, there is certainly some overlap from empire building and creation, but empire building can also be bribing and cajoling people into liking you a lot. Let's go this way. So, as we got luxury resources that have stuff that can be expended. So what this means is boosters. That means if we basically kind of, rather than continuing to collect it, we start using our resources. Spread them around, you know, throw them around at people. It can do things for us. In the case of grass silk, thanks to advances in the craft of weaving, the production of light yet heat-trapping clothing from these gossamer webs has become a reality. The cloth is in such a high demand that it gives an enormous boost to trade, plus 100% from trade routes on cities, plus 10 happiness on cities. And gold, minus 50% upkeep on cities, plus 5 on cities. Plus 5 happiness on cities. Let's use our gold, because we can keep making more of that. Yes! So I do have to say. So, another way to expand the other way. So as let's back up here a little bit. So let's take a look at our city. Let's get a close look at this guy. Let's get up real close. Closer. Yes. Our city. We got this big ass Mordor looking Doom Tower because we're from underground and we like that kind of angular shit. We've got this, like, series of, like, small, like, sheet metal huts. That's good. That's good. We're living in our beautiful sheet metal homes. But this city is shit. This is a crap city. We need a better city. We need to expand our city. It's only touching 6 hexes with its fields and its It's Mordor-ass looking Doom shit. No, we need better cities. Like, look at this. We've got mineral-rich land over here. Vast splinters of mineral-encrusted stone thrust from the rocky ground. Some of these inorganics are sure to have useful industrial applications. I mean, come on! Who doesn't like industrial applications? I mean, I certainly do. I don't know about you. So how do we expand our city? How do we get to affect more tiles? How do we get to that good old stuff? By building a borough. We expand, so we build a city like a city naturally grows into districts. It expands, it forms suburbs, those suburbs become new districts. For example, the village was once like Greenwich Village in New York, for those of you familiar with New York, it's called Greenwich Village because it used to be a separate town, literally named Greenwich Village. And then New York expanded to consume it. And yeah, and Circling Sea, I really do like the individual field textures too. It's really nice. It's a really nice visualization of this is the area your city is directly influencing, kind of thing. But yeah, so much like a city naturally expands, we are going to expand. We're going to create a river district to expand towards that minerals. And then, as you can see, it also affects 5 hexes around it, except where we're abutting a territorial border, which was probably a big mistake in building this settlement where I did, but oh well. So we will... Once our settler is done, we're also going to expand this city onto the river and maybe get some of that mineral-rich stone shit. That good shit. We could also expand towards that black earth, though. Although I don't think we can get to... Yeah, we can't get to it for a while yet. That's not a particularly wise expansion policy. Glass steel. Oh, actually, we should probably do that first. To be perfectly honest. Oh, actually, that research isn't done yet, I don't think. Ah! Tasty. Alright. Where shall we be going? What shall we be doing? That seems like seems like sound policy. Engaging in sound policy. That's what we do here. Alright, looks like we're ending our turn. Alchemist Furnace, yay! Search. Ah, your search with the location was worth the effort. 30 dust. More dust. Clay. Bubbling hot clay. Eyeless one? More eyeless ones? Emeralds! Damn it, the sons of bitches, they've got the emeralds. Nope, clay. More ways to show you Auriga is not like our planet. Under the influence of fire, the congealed mud of this area is found to harden into sparkling ceramics. And also it literally bubbles up from the earth. Maybe we should go fight those mins. Actually, let's go talk to these Eyeless One mins to see how we can make them our friends. Alright, yeah, we gotta do research. We're very close to new research. Empire Mint. Let's go with Geomic Labs. This new science, based on the study of natural rock formations of Auriga, brings a wealth of new knowledge to the city. In case you hadn't figured it out, I tend to like science victories. No. Dust does not equal gold dust. Dust is very much like the spice in, Dune, if you're familiar with it. It is a, substance that has magic, has a variety of properties that make it near magical in quality. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've failed to complete that quest. I'm doing a bad job. Let's parlay with these eyeless ones. What do they like about us? Too many chiefs, too many cooks, too many cooks. Well, you know, it is a big problem when too many cooks spoil the broth. But they do fill our hearts with so much love. Everybody in this village seems to be giving orders and claiming some fancy title. Finally, one of them comes forward and states that if you can bring them enough dust, they will put aside their differences and follow your banners. While it seems a bit too chaotic to be a reliable tip, you have nothing else to go on, and the village would be a useful ally. To pacify the eyeless ones in Horlaken, collect enough dust to buy the allegiance and cohesion of this argumentative people. Return to the village when you are ready and give them 50 dust. Okay, so actually here's another point of note that so bribing and the advantage to bribing, the advantage to parlaying with minor factions and doing their bullshit quests is if you do their bullshit quests for them, all of the villages in the region will like you, as opposed to just a single of the villages in the region will like you. Yes, some of them, Encircling Seas, some of the quests do have time limits. Quest update. Return to the village. You please the eyeless ones who told you exactly what you needed to do. With a hero-led army, find and talk to the other eyeless ones village located in the same region. Dismiss. Alright, so we gotta go talk to the other Mins on the far side of the Mins. Come on, talk to them Mins. Ah. Uh-oh. Looks like there's another. I went to the wrong one. Too many chiefs. Where's the thing on this quest? Oh, I have to go talk to that same village again. Assholes. And turn. Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do this. We're going to assimilate the Dargeshi. Because they're humans, we're humans. Let's assimilate these Mins and make them a part of us. Their Mins are our Mins. It could be that there is a third village of eyeless ones, but usually it would hop to them if it were. Let's just go back and talk to these shitheads in case. No, you're right. It's probably a third village. God damn it. I hate that. These Mins are gonna have us running all over creation. We have successfully assimilated these butts. So, why... You have reached a new era. The era of glory. The age of glory. It is glorious. Glorious. And our quest was completed. My saviors have retreated from the chaos of the subterranean realm, seeking sanctuary on Auriga's surface. Our first task is to assimilate a minor faction. Excellent. My friends have taken the first step in securing a place on the surface. First of the Bloodline, Zolia has taken the first step in securing the Vulture's future. A strong alliance with a local tribe has been built. Alas, my own progress in uncovering my history has not been so fruitful. My memory circuits have all but failed, and only my confusing glimpses of the past cross my electronic mind. I see tormented faces, hear gargled screams, feel the slick touch of warm blood. Memories of operations I performed? Or something darker? On my chassis is stenciled my droid class, Operation and Medical Procedures Robot, but I am certain I was known by another name. Whatever it was eludes me, though. To save myself from madness, I try not to dwell on these matters. Instead, focus on the plight of my new masters. The legends of their past are awakening. Far beneath the surface, in the excavations that only came to light through the subterranean quakes, they discover more and more ancient relics bearing their sigils. They yearn to unravel these mysteries, perhaps even learn things that will grant them an advantage over the other races that stalk this great planet. First of the Bloodline, Zolia discusses these things with the fire of a zealot in her eyes. I have a feeling that their story and my own will entwine. For a civilization to flourish, valuable resources must be secured, and borders made safe. My masters must found 2 strategic resource mines and eliminate any invaders in their lands. Okay. Okay, man. Glass, steel, titanium. I swear, if there's not a village in this shadow, I will be so upset. It doesn't look like it. Good job. What do I have to do for this damn quest? Will you please do it? Okay. Let us go for deep generators, harnessing the mighty power of the timeless fires of the deep. Vaulter backup generators provide substantial and reliable energy that is missing on the surface. All resources are boosted. Zolia versus Robotsman forever, indeed. I get the feeling that Zolia is kind of like a shonen anime hero. Dust, sweet. That's some sweet shit. Oh, I know. Maybe there is still a hidden spoopy village. Rumbling stones. This is a very big territory. I actually really do want to take this territory. We kind of do block the passage from the eyeless ones who can become our friends, or the spider people. Like, yeah, other than... So wait, our nearest neighbors are guys with creepy masks, horrible nightmare Buddhists, and Driders. It's a good neighborhood. Nice neighborhood. This actually reminds me of the last time I played Vaulters. I wound up basically being friends with orcs, literal demons, and like these living crystal monsters. And because of the fucking Mordor ass look of the Vaulters, I'm like, I'm basically playing Sauron. That's what I'm doing. Oh no. Someone's destroyed a poor eyeless one village. This makes me very sad. Yeah, I'm actually of the opinion it'd probably be better to make friends with the eyeless ones since there are more of them. Simulate their soft eyeless bodies. But yes, narrative. What shall we discuss about this narrative? Settler. Parlay. To pacify the others ones in Horlacan, collect enough dust to buy the allegiance conclusion of this argument. Can you please the ass for that? All's well that finally ends. In fact, leader of this village is the youngest, but by far the brightest and most useful of the group of siblings. Though the others hate to admit it, by gaining the trust of the young leader of this village, you have effectively pacified this minor faction. Sweet. Just in time for our settlers to come in and take their lands. Settler. New army of settlers. Where are we gonna build? Probably near the ocean is a good idea. Minerals. Mineral rich. Massive tree. Massive tree. Actually, right near this massive tree seems like a good place. Yeah, this seems like a good spot right here. And it's pretty close. Massive tree. Yeah, there's some rumbling stones down here, but massive tree seems like the good spot. Massive tree. Alright. So, we haven't talked in a while, really, about narrative. But we have a growing story here about a robot trying to remember who it is, and only seeing images of, violence and destruction, trying to find its place in its new world with these people who, shares like some sort of cultural symbolism relationship with them, trying to find his place in the world, or their place in the world, or her place in the world. Because robotsman, we do not know this robotsman's gender, and it is not appropriate for us to assume it. Let's go exploring. Yeah, we're gonna probably have to go exploring this way. Wow, speaking of demons, we have encountered the Kazanji. The Kazanji generate energy not from food but from fire. They live in cold, dry, relatively barren areas. Their form is defined by a very dense and resistant skeleton around which energies of fire and dust coalesce. So blah blah blah. Them. What shall we say? So we have that narrative emerging. Meanwhile, our civilization grows. We expand. Badly, but we expand. And we haven't really got... We're probably going to have to pick a fight with somebody of some varietal. Gold. Let's reactivate the gold. And let's build probably right here or here seems good options. Yeah, let's build right here. Yeah. I think that's a reasonable decision. It's a relatively reasonable decision. Hello, eyeless ones. Check this shit out. Boom. City. Our city. Our second city in Horlacan. So while I'm kind of dicking around here, do you guys have any questions about this game? Your thoughts and feelings on it? What you would like to know about how this game works? Things to say, thoughts to share, butts to touch. These are all relevant to my interests. We should also probably start building an army over here. Let's repair their... Ugh. No, let's not repair their village. Fuck their village for now. Seed storage. Oh, and here's a fun thing. Actually, we can repair it this way. Actually, no, we should probably do our strategic resources with that. Let's actually do that. Resource extractor, resource extractor. Yes, good. No, none of the minor factions you run into are starting races. Yes, there are very inhuman races. There are floopy-eared bunny elves. There are the Durgans that we have met. There are many varieties of human. There are many poly sorts of flavors of human. There are, who else is there? Shoot. This is where my memory is fading. There are... Oh, there are the people that used to be human but are now awful nightmare dust ghosts. Yeah, there are ghosts. There are ghosts living in armor that, they play very radically. Like, each of the factions kind of plays pretty differently. The Vultures are kind of the Vultures and the, roaming clans are kind of the closest to bog standard. But... we haven't really gotten to it yet, but the Vultures can, teleport between their own settlements eventually, and they have all kinds of shit going on. Like, what else we got here? Oh, fuck. I can't remember Vultures. Yeah, we have Knack for Knowledge, Holy Resource. In the workings of the great orrery that is the universe, your people value and exploit one strategic resource above all others. Once it has been selected and collected, you gain powerful new abilities. So basically we can declare a strategic resource a holy resource. For our continued, stuff. But yeah, actually, this is a good place to cover, like, who are the Vultures? What do they stand for? Holy Resource. In the workings of the great orrery that is the universe, we already covered that. Knack for Knowledge. A people used to hardship and penury manage to get more out of whatever they have on hand. So we worship resources. We are people that have gone through desperate straits before, so we're kind of like catch as catch can kind of people. Veins of Auriga. Skilled at working the ores that run like blood vessels through the rocks of Auriga, the faction is highly efficient at strategic resources. We get better resources. So, okay, we're better collecting resources because we lived underground. The Deep Generator, which we're working on. Endless Recycling. Clever engineers and nimble fingers combine to get maximum use out of any sort of artifact scrap coming from the ruins that litter Auriga. So more emphasizing that we are survivalists. We're like, yes, the world is hard. No. We are called the Vultures because we live in vaults. Sorry if my pronunciation confused that at all. Yes. So we are tough, proud people who care about the scienzias. We are hard survivalists. And hard buds. We are indeed scrappy, Kirk. You can go home now. Actually, I wonder if we can find out about our allies, the people we're trying to make our friends. Let's actually talk to these people. Mildly jealous. So this is it. They have a common frontier with us. They don't like the fact that we share our butts. Mizari. Oh, we can't know more about the Mizari. Let's compliment them again. Your acknowledgement for quality work does you credit. Yeah, yeah. Like us a bit. Well, I can. We got these bitch asses here. We should probably start building soldiers in our main settlement. We're probably gonna have to find somebody to fight soon. But, so Corey, there are no robots as a starting race. At least not yet. There are several DLC factions and new DLC features to add to the game that I generally don't have. So I don't know specifically, but there are shadow people, horrible elder beings from beneath the sea, I think is one. But yeah. No robotsmans. Other than this robotsman, who is our friend. Our lovely little friend. Can we get to here? Oh no, we don't have that. We don't have the power to cross the seas yet. To cross the sunless seas. Another game that I think we should do on this channel at some point. Cool. Horlacan has grown to population 2. For civilization to flourish, valuable resources must be secured, blah blah blah. Our new installations have drawn the attention of roving armies. They are unlikely to leave us in peace. So it will be war. Reward. Winter shelters. No, not so much. The other ones are weirder. There are the, Oh, actually, Corey, I lied. There are robots. I can't remember what they're called. The faceless ones? The silent ones? They, are ancient, endless robots that, they worship... They're a cult, that worships a supercomputer. A sentient an enormous AI supercomputer, and are trying to convert all of the peoples of this earth into the worship of their giant supercomputer. And then there are there's this kind of finger quote wizard faction. But the way they maintain their power is through self-flagellation and causing and masochism. So they get more powerful with pain. Yeah, there's a lot of and then there are the what is it? The swarmers, who are they're actually a native species to Auriga rather than humans. And other mins that have come from the sky. They are a native species, and they're basically horrible insectoid tar monster nightmares that want to consume the earth. No, the robotsmen are not techno-zealots, because much like the Vaulters use technology and don't realize it's technology, the robotsmen don't think of themselves as being technology. And that's kind of one of the borders are a convenient thing. Now that we share a common frontier, we can keep an eye on each other. Okay. I'm not sure if that was a threat or like a promise. Or like I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Oh, someone is sieging one of my cities. Oh, demons are sieging my cities. And my armies are far, far away. This is a bad turn of butts. This is an unfortunate turn of bananas. Let's also... Let's build a Dawn Officer here that we cannot afford. Great. Awesome. So we're in trouble. No, they don't revere it. They are... A lot of them are robots. But, it's not like they revere it because they don't know how it works. It's... To them, all hyper-advanced technology is just magic. So, it's like, it works because magic. And to a certain extent, a lot of the stuff runs on dust, and so, therefore, is sort of magic. Even the computer doesn't think of itself as a computer. Like, even the giant AI robot doesn't think of itself as an AI robot. Like, the robots don't think of themselves as robots. Except for our robotsman friend, who is aware, is conscious of the fact that he is a robot. I don't think it matters if we lose our starting city. It's never actually happened to me before, so I don't know. We're just gonna have to go to war. We're going to war. And probably gonna lose. This is probably gonna go badly for us, I think. But we'll see what happens. We are gonna get a lot of militia from the city, but let's see. Aha! It happened. I was waiting for it to happen. Construction blocked. Population has grown Horlock into 3. Imminent empire plan. Winter has come. The dark season has begun. Classic. In winter, life and movement are more difficult. Minus 50% movement on units. Minus 1 production on exploitation. Minus 1 food. Minus 1 food on terrain with food. Minus 1 dust on terrain with dust. Minus 1 vision on expansions. Minus 1 vision on cities. Minus 1 vision on units. So, another reason that, another storytelling thing this game does, winter is not a season like we understand it. It's a season that happens, like, more like a Game of Thrones, over years at a time. The thing, though, is, in this game, the winters start, as you saw, several hours of play in. We are only just getting our first winter. And you can actually see a measure of it here. So it's somewhere... Winter will end sometime in the next 1 to 19 turns. And it will... let's see if we can attack this guy faster. Yes. And if you pay attention here, when summer comes back around, that summer will end sometime between, like 1 or 19 turns or whatever. But, oh, I actually should have used teleport from the previous city. That was stupid. Forgetting how to play his own damn game. Yeah, and it's implied that winter like as the winter and summer cycles continue, the winters come more and more frequently, and so that as you progress through the game, it is more and more haha. Here is battle. So we're now going to get into battle. Rather than smashing our armies into each other in big giant stacks like Civilization, we go into a battle screen, and we get to choose our kind of global strategy for our army, whether we're going to manually fight it out, spectate, or auto-resolve it. And I think I'm going to go on the offensive here. So, ready to fight. Alright. So we get to choose our starting deploy. So we go into a battle screen of the region around which we are fighting, and our enemies, a big giant demoniac creature. So we have our militia, our Walter militia infantry. He has this flying nightmare beast, and we are. Let's actually. Yeah, let's stick with this. Let's ready. Aha! And now our armies start appearing. So let us determine our attack. Let us attack. Yeah, we're all going to direct our attack at this min. So we can see our stats, and we can see what actions we can take. What abilities each faction has, or what each people have. So these guys are fast, they have +1 battle movement, they're cavalry slayers, so they're plus 40% additional damage on cavalry. Meanwhile, the demoniac creature has chain lightning. Overrides the default attack, only does not work against units with fortification. Deals normal damage to the initial target and 20% to the opponents adjacent to the target. The 20% damage is spread from adjacent units. It's slow, so it moves slowly. It's flying! Can fly over ridges and cliffs, ignores line of sight. And Ranged Slayer, plus 30% damage, range damage, and support units. So it is going to be bad to our rangedsmen. But we have the strongest rangedsmen, our Marines, our great and glorious Marines. Have range 3, have Techno Lover, plus 35% to the effect provided by equipment made with the same resources as the holy resource, which is why we should probably set a holy resource. Point blank power, plus 10% attack when performing a close range attack. Block, plus 10% defense when attacked, and sharp sense. So we are Marines with our machine gun crossbows and titanium shields. And power armor? It's weird. This game's a little weird. It goes first because it has the higher initiative. Uh-oh. They just punched our mins. And we shot it. A lot. Boom, boom, boom. Attack! Militiamen! Do your worst. Killed it dead. Broke the siege. Yeah. The demoniac forces are defeated. Yeah. Subtle music cue changes. Yeah. I would say awesome, but that's kind of one of the things I like about this. Its aesthetic is very different than a lot of games you'll see. It's like future. It is what would happen if you had civilizations arise in a universe where science fiction is going on out in the outside universe? There's science fiction going on, and highly advanced races have been here before. What do you do when other civilizations discover, like, smartphones? Like, what like discover smartphones, like, with Wikipedia downloaded onto it, or music downloaded onto it? Like, what do you do? What happens then? And furthermore, what happens when they're using resources that are the wreckage of advanced civilizations, like titanium? Or what do you do when there is a actually nigh-magical substance out in this universe? Like, that's basically the spice from Dune. So on top of actual science, you have sort of actual magic? You go banana nut bar is what you do. And we're going to fight this other army that's decided to now siege our settlements. Units level up. And we can actually see some of our units. Like, let's create a new... You could, not only can you, like, see the units and their stats and equip them with things, but you can create new units or edit existing units to upgrade their equipment. So let's edit this unit. The riders of the great Burdamek lizards, the Burdaki, are both the scouts and primary weapons of the Dorgeshi armies. Heavy and heavily armored, their powerful charge and lack of fear makes them dangerous foes. So they have a charge, they have a crippling charge, and they are very good at killing other cav. And we can give them stuff like a talisman, an iron talisman, which will give them improved movement speed. Or an iron ring, which will give them improved other shit. But we can also let's choose titanium as our holy resource. And if we had researched this technology here, advanced alloys, we would have unlocked basic titanium and glass steel weapons, but right now that's not in our cards. We'll probably do alchemical alloys up here and get alchemical weapons. Yep. Yeah, that's a fight. We're gonna fight this man. Ready to fight. Oh, actually, that was a mistake. No, let's stay back here. So, 1, 2, 3. He's probably gonna go first, so that's okay. Let him move up to us. And ready. Launch. Yeah, he's gonna move up first, and then perfectly into our range. Minus 20. Minus 40. Yay! Minus 40. Launch. This is gonna hurt. Not as badly as I thought. So that's good. And we do, see, we're excellent at point blank range because we use the crossbowsman. Got wrecked, dude. Yes, you saw highways and infrastructure in the future. Those things are indeed in our future. Itchy ears. For civilization, it's good luck. It's good for these people. They are miners and craftsmen by nature. With luck, they may uncover some of their lost skills and wisdom. And now we have achieved winter shelters. By resurrecting the dormant but not forgotten arts of subterranean architecture and horticulture, the Vaulters can construct shelters to negate the worst effects of winter. Winter food reduction immunity. Winter approval reduction immunity. -1 from city upkeep. The cost indicates that the holy resource has been chosen. So yeah, basically you have to, the cost for building it is Opbot. My name is Opbot. The name came to me as I performed an amputation on a Vaulter fighter who was grievously injured in a recent battle. The act must have dislodged my old memories. I remember living on a great ark. It was a place of light and peace and refinement. Then something terrible happened. My surgical facility was overrun with the wounded. Under flickering lights and dying power, I carried out endless surgeries. Soon, the anesthetics ran low. Screams rang through the hollow space, and the blood never ended. I think something broke inside of me. The Vultures aren't interested in my ramblings. Their attention is on Auriga. The planet shifts and turns, but to what end is unclear. I sense unease among their ranks, division even. Some yearn to return to their dimly lit underground halls, pray to the old gods, and wait out whatever calamity is befalling Auriga. First of the bloodline, Zolia has other ideas, though, and fortunately, she has the support of the majority, for now. While the support endures, we must do what is necessary, protect our people from the ravages of the dark season, and grow our cities. Once we are safe, we will have luxury to discuss gods and visions. Yes, so let's build winter shelters. Oh, I don't have enough. It is. Let's build another settler and some cavalry. Well, what time is it? 10:30? We're getting to a goodly point. We're probably gonna stop soon. But yeah. So what are we to make of this? What are we to make of this game? Why am I discussing this game? Why I chose this game is because for a long time, this particular style of game has been dominated by Civilization. A good game in its own right, and a game that's not necessarily stagnating. But this game is interested in trying to do other things from Civilization. This game chooses to explore things that Civilization has generally neglected, or has in its current incarnation neglected. Not necessarily so much in the past. For example, I have been told that in earlier renditions of Civilization, the reason the 2050 end date was chosen was because of global warming. That the game Civilization ended in 2050 with rampant global warming. So, there's a pleasant outlook on the future. But this game is very much more concerned with, narrative aside, the way civilizations adapt to fit their environment. The way they choose to expand based on their environment. How we, treating the world we live in as a living, breathing space that affects how we choose to evolve. For example, this, and in a deeper, not to say civilization doesn't do that, because you have different tile types producing different tile resources. But this game has a much wider variety of not random tile resources, say black earth, chromatic land, moss pearls, mineral-rich land deposits, the clay that we saw before, massive trees. All of these things point to kind of a game that is much more concerned about the environment that it lives in, what that environment says about the civilizations that build around it, and how that environment affects the decisions that civilizations make, how civilizations interact with the people around them that are not necessarily civilizations. Hey, summer has returned. And it uses that to weave the story of this civilization in the world it finds itself in. For example, where are we as a civilization? We're a growing civilization that has generally peacefully expanded to assimilate one group of people, and is we have the story that we have told of us so far, even without the narrative that's been given to us, is that we are from implied storytelling, we know that we are a people that value utility and value survival, and in a sense, we're not people that don't value beauty, but we value well-crafted tools, we value community, we value reusing all things around you to create a more survivable community. And coming out into this world, we have reached this desperate tundra-y land, which must be miserable in winter. In winter, this must be double miserable. We have made friends with the Dogreshi and other people who are another people who, like us before we settled, were semi-nomadic. Another people who seemingly value craftsmanship, although they tend to value the craftsmanship not of industrial goods like we do from our holy resources, but they value luxury goods. They value things of beauty. And though they live simple lives in underground ceramic dwellings, they decorate them extensively. So these are people that value kind of a sense of beauty, a sense of the finer things in life, particularly indicated by the fact that when we assimilated them, they made it easier for us to access luxury resources. In our case, gold. So that is a thing that we are now learning. We've also made friends with a species who is very, very, very different from both our own and from the other human culture we've encountered. The eyeless ones seem, we are now on our way to making friends with the eyeless ones, a species that, while very cultured, is very unconcerned with the physical and the transient and venial. They're concerned with what is implied to be spiritual matters, or with things beyond our sight. They see the world in ways that we don't, and so the ways in which we choose to decorate and ornament our world are of complete unconcern to them. But we do know that if we were to assimilate them into our society, that they would, for every village of theirs that we have friends with ours, we get +5 happiness. So their spiritual customs are perhaps, like, they engage in perhaps spiritual customs of some kind that, are able to soothe people's minds around them. What are we to make of that? What are we to make of the fact that we are making friends with those people? And then on top of that, we are given the actual narrative of this game. Or, well, not the actual narrative, but another narrative element of this game. Let's, Diplomat's Mance. We are given another narrative of this game, that we have found a vault collapsed open in the earthquakes that caused us to flee from our homes, and we found ancient relics that were using symbology and cultural signifiers that are our own. And among these incredibly advanced technologies, we found a being made purely of metal. And now we are experiencing our story through this person's eyes. How they feel about us, and how they feel about the circumstances they found themselves in. Because their memory is patchy. They know they are not born as we are born. And they know things that we don't know. They know that they are other, and that they used to ride that things are different now from how they were. But they are also discovering their memories as we try and discover the world around us, and how we should respond to it. And to do this, the game has created quests that force us to play out the narrative rather than receive it rote, to act out this narrative of story. For example, in the quest we just did, we have burst out into the stage, desperate, cold, and alone, without friendless in a wilderness that we have never experienced, because we are from under the earth. So our first action is we need to find allies in this wasteland. And so we make friends with this, tribe of nomads we've encountered. We have, expanded now that we have friends, we need resources. And so we, expand into gathering of materials to meet our needs. And then, we've encountered other powers who are native to this region that attack us, put us in great danger, in fact, nearly sack our capital city, because they do not like the fact that we are, encroaching what they perceive as theirs, or they desire that which we have created. And so, as a reward for that mission, progressively we get an ally, and we get a reward of resources for that, which is okay, so the story there is we make friends, the friends give us materials, so we are now richer. We build these mining settlements, and then we gain an influence in the region, and also more wealth. And then people come to take that wealth. And once that has happened, we learn more about our robot friend, who because we have fought those people off, is bringing up memories of the past. And so our in-game play actions are causing in-narrative events, and vice versa, because as we progress through the narrative, the world events change. We saw demon armies appear out of nowhere because we had developed wealth and power. And that is a very good way to tell narrative in games. You're letting the narrative and the play walk hand in hand, but also it is a great way to bring stories of a civilization, of a people, into greater clarity. Because unlike Civ, one of its great weaknesses is that though it is attempting to create a story of a civilization, that story often lacks the human element of interaction. And you have these large implicit nation states, blob-like nation states, whose only motivation seems to be self-glorification or the destruction of those who would, either through violent or other means, who would challenge the preening of our great nation state. In this case, the story, they've set a clear story. It's like there is an end of times coming, and we are approaching that. And the way they choose to execute on that is make the world a much more engaging place on its own. Force you to make decisions about how you choose to cope with the environment that surrounds you, how you choose to deal with these settlements. Because though we haven't seen it, since we've have relatively passive settlements, these settlements can actually spawn armies that are implicitly hostile to us. And so we can either treat them as a threat to be eliminated, or we can attempt to either bribe or parlay our way into making them allies and making them a usable resource, but framing it as a way of in further aid of our cause. And so I think that's a better way to create emergent narrative, and B, it feels much more like you're emotionally invested in this civilization and the people that surround it. And I think that's just generally a better way to handle the growth and progress of a civilization. That said, this game is not without its faults. We kind of didn't really get into them because we are still 39 turns into a 300-turn game. What kind of happens is eventually this narrative of the world is destroying the world is slowly being destroyed, kind of diverges from the narrative of us as a growing civilization and a growing power. And they do attempt to do this in later game as winter seasons, which are eminently bad for us, come closer and closer together. But it never really winds up working out entirely as they intended. Yeah, let's keep on with, actually, yeah, let's keep doing this. And so, later on, the narratives kind of begin to diverge. They kind of not very successfully, at least in this base version of the game, they're not very successful at creating a situation where your late-stage civilization feels desperate to escape, or feels desperate to find a way to escape. There are several different end states for the game. There is the standard military conquest. What are the... Hang on, what are the victory conditions? I don't remember them all. Where are they? I actually forget where they all are. Oh, actually we can go to the technology tree at the ages at the end. So, there's a scientific victory where we get all of these major resources. There is a military victory where we conquest the world. There is, I believe... Oh yeah, the United Empires Council. So there's a diplomatic victory. Where we basically get the United Nations of Auriga. And then there's a storyline victory. Where we accomplish the storyline. And so we reach the end of the storyline, and we build a... Oh, yeah. So, there's two ones related to this. There's the Great Wonder Victory, where you build the Great Wonder Victory that saves... The Great Wonder that saves Auriga. It's basically this big giant, like, I don't know, drill engine thing, Mega Doomer. And then there's the storyline ending, where you reach the end of your story for this faction. In the Vaulter's case, it usually it results in building the same structure. It's similar to the Wonder Victory. It's it's the end of the questline Wonder Victory. In our case, rather than saving Auriga, the Vaulters find a ancient ark of theirs. And their goal is to reconstruct that ark. Like, they find the ark that Opbot has referenced. They find that ark, and their goal over the course of this game is to take the ark, make it work again, and journey amongst the stars. And whether they are successful in that or not is kind of something that I will leave you to discover. But yeah, and that's kind of how the narrative can go in this. So yeah, do you guys have any questions, thoughts on what I've said, questions about what I've said, positions of clarity before I wrap this shit up for the evening? Alright then. Well, if no one else has any other questions, I am going to probably bounce out on this. So, once again, the play is the thing, and we have caught the conscience of some kings. And so now, I leave you to your lives, delicious human friends. And Good night. Goodbye. You are loved. I love you. You're beautiful. You're all beautiful people. That's the lesson we're taking away from this. Uh-oh. I actually might not be able to close this game. Or, more accurately, close this stream. Hmm. This is problematic. We're trapped in a problematic situation, folks. Here. I'm just gonna exit the game. How am I gonna... How are we gonna do this? Well, yes, Encircling Seas, please come back again. As next week, Corey and I shall continue our adventures, probably in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. As I try to escape this game. Or we could just be me, it could just be me attempting to escape this game. Cowardice, you have left the game. Yeah, I am a coward. Oh, by the way, here's some of the other factions. So we've got the Vaulters, the Broken Lords, who are the Goasts. The Ardent Mages, who are the self-flagellating mages. Yes, Encircling Sea, this is always Fridays at 8. 8 in the PM. If we're not on at 8 in the PM, it's probably just because we're running a little late. Usually we'll be on before 8:30. But, yeah, 8 in the PM is our scheduled time. We got the Roving Clans, who are also humans, and they are traders, explorers, and all-around adventure guys. The Cultists. The Cultists, yeah, this strange cult is led by two creations that are remnants of the Endless. The Queen, imprisoned within her indestructible throne in the capital city, and the Unspoken, a wandering and perhaps insane being of enormous power. Left alone on the planet for millennia, they have turned against their creators and sworn to destroy every trace of their existence. To do so, they recruit, train, and arm lesser beings from tribes and vagrants that live scattered across the surface of Auriga. Yeah. The Draken, the Necrophages, who are the horrible bug rot monsters I mentioned, and the Wild Walkers, who are the floppy-eared bunny elves. How am I gonna get out of this? Yeah, sorry. Sorry this stream is ending strangely. It's because this game does not play nice with XSplit, so... You know. We're in a weird position here. I'm gonna exit and hope it works. So, good night, everybody.